It's a mental aspect where if you think you can't, it's just not going to get done.
Yeah.
And if you think you can, then at least...
A little engine that could, right?
Yeah.
I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think that's one we're going to have to get on the wall. I think I can. Because it's... If you do that, then you are going to be able to succeed. You put yourself in the right frame of mind to succeed. Immense amount of value, because a lot of times now people don't have the time in order to dedicate to those items. They just fall behind.
They don't have the time, they don't have the tools, they don't have the expertise, they don't have the interest. One of those things they don't have, and it's really, no matter where it is, we can fill that gap.
All right, Q, we good?
Yeah, sound.
All right, sound. We got Tony Bulman here today. Tony runs a residential commercial maintenance company in Edmonton, and I'm excited to have him today because one thing about Tony that I've known for a little while is your ability to keep finding new ways to diversify and never stay stagnant with a single item. So you started in oil and gas, right? And well, take us back, right? Take us back to the history. Give us a little bit of the history, and then we'll go through Phantom and Reliant, and we'll take it all the way to today.
Oh man, it starts with recreation administration and tourism marketing with Travel Alberta. Then
and we're excited to hear about that because I don't even know about that one. So you're gonna have to give us a little rundown. Yeah,
that's my degree, recreation administration from the University of Alberta.
Cool.
With an interest in sports management and in tourism. Those are diverse in themselves.
So when you took that, what was the job opportunities coming out of school with that? What were you looking for? Because you ended up with Travel Alberta, but what was out there? Was that...
So that was one. I was very interested in tourism and tourism marketing. And so I did that for a number of years. Found that government wasn't really my thing. You spend a lot of time going in one direction. All the momentum is building towards this great program that a lot of people are working on.
Yeah.
And then there's a change in the political wind, there's a change in ministers or whatever, and all this thing that you've done is, we're not doing that anymore.
And you like progress, so you wanted to keep it rolling.
I don't like spinning my wheels for the sake of spinning wheels. You want to get some traction and move forward and actually do something, accomplish something. I want results. I'm not happy just going to work for the sake of going to work.
Yeah, so then you went to Travel Alberta.
Well, that was Travel Alberta.
Okay.
So again, good people, not putting anything down with Travel Alberta.
Yeah.
I did a lot of good things, but that element of the political nature of work, just it wasn't for me. So I left that. I did some consulting on my own, then managed the Alberta Winter Games, which again was another, that was kind of a dream job in university. I thought, if I could manage a multi-sport activity like the Alberta Games, that would be just awesome. Once again, I found out the nature of political and bureaucratic work. So it was a great experience. And it was a challenging experience, and at the end of it, I was really looking forward to joining the private sector.
And then when you jumped to private sector, is that when you went to oil and gas, or was there a couple of hops in between?
No, it was to an oil and gas oil and gas service and supply company rather.
So I find right now, and this is a good time to talk about it, because there's a lot of people right now that are going from oil and gas to other industries.
Yes.
And with the cyclical nature of Alberta, we sometimes go from other industries to oil and gas, and then from oil and gas to other industries. So what was it like, because you've gone from Travel Alberta and the Winter Games to oil and gas, and now outside of oil and gas again. Take me through the transition for both, and what was oil and gas like in comparison to the other two? Because I was in it too, and sometimes it's hard to explain to people the difference between how oil and gas sector works in comparison to every other industry. And there's this adaptation period that comes along with it.
Yeah, I think characterizing it now as compared to where it was in the past is a dangerous game, because the dynamics are so different now with all the geopolitical forces going on. It really is a geopolitical exercise now. At the time, we were like the Alberta that everybody knows and loves. We had a huge market in the U.S. Pretty much all that we did had a market in the U.S. If not all of it went to the U.S. because we had export markets as well. But not only we as a company, but also Alberta as a producer. We sold everything easily to the U.S. The dynamics are so different now, so you can't make a direct comparison between then and now. But that, and it was cyclical then, more cyclical than it is now. Now again, geopolitical forces are determining exactly what's happening, and it's a little bit challenging to manage those and manipulate those to the same degree that we could before.
It's because now with so many people looking to diversify and to get into other industries, trying to find ways to trying to expand outside of oil and gas and find a new client base. You did that, you stepped out, and one of the coolest projects that you were on is you were on Phantom for a while, if I recall. Yeah. So you had Phantom and a couple of those products. Take me through that phase, because that's a big difference. And going from kind of the regular oil and gas job to finding a product and then marketing it and putting your heart and soul into a product. Take me through that phase, because that was cool, and it was something that a lot of people don't get to try.
Yeah, well, that was like you said, I don't like to stand still. I was doing residential maintenance at the time and looking for other things. One of the elements of the business that I was in before, and ultimately became a shareholder in until we sold the company, we really were world class, and we had people from literally all over the world come to our facility, and they were blown away by the things that we were doing. And there are a lot of those sorts of buildings around the Edmonton area that they're these nondescript little steel buildings that don't look like much, but once you step inside, the technology that's being employed there is just mind-blowing, and it really is best in the world in a lot of cases.
And Alberta has a lot of that.
A lot of that, and actually I've got some really interesting stories about that too. But so where were we? So we did things on a world-class level, and we had sort of the philosophy of the company and those at the management level. We wanted to do something more than just have a business and sell X number of dollars of goods at such and such a margin. We wanted to accomplish something and do things better and innovate. And so when I got into my own business, I was looking for those sorts of things too. I'm not the engineer. I was fortunate to work with some really intelligent engineering technologists. But that philosophy sort of became part of me too. So I was looking around, found this product that looked kind of cool, innovative. I wondered if it had any application though. So
it's interesting though, because I think so many people look for that product like you had found with Phantom, and there was a couple others too that you had found, and they never take the leap to getting that franchise or finding a way to distribute those products. And you took the leap, you went head first in, and you built the website, you built the marketing, you built everything up, and then began to sell the products and go through that journey. And I mean, you had no fallback really on that. No, you were going right at it, and that's the craziest part. So if you were to give advice to somebody who's going to start one of those, find a product, start to sell it, distribute it, what would that one tidbit be, or that one piece of advice that'll take it and make it so that they can succeed and take it to the next level?
You have to be all in. You have to go for it hard.
All in attitude, everything.
You have to be, yeah, because you can't go halfways. You can't, and I did this for a while too. I did sort of dip my toes into a few different things, and the energy level that is dissipated when you're dipping your toes into multiple things, it's so hard on every element of it.
We had someone that came in and explained it. It was Merrick. He came into the show and he was explaining his buckets of water. You have one bucket full of water, and now you have to distribute that water between. For you, it was kind of some of the maintenance, and then the products, and then family life and everything. And when it starts to go low, you can't take that business to the next level. You need to keep as much water in that bucket as possible.
Yeah, it is tough to. It's tough to do that, especially when So there's the countervailing wisdom as well against that, about putting all your eggs in one basket. If you put all your eggs in one basket and that doesn't work, well, what do you do next?
Yeah,
it's a little bit of a challenge, but you have to really commit.
So whether I like that. Whether you're putting in that all-in attitude into something or not, you have to commit to it. Even if you do have other things going, you need that full commitment from the mind, your energy, kind of everything towards it to make it work.
Yeah, and then it takes a lot. I mean, there really is no substitute. There isn't a substitute. There isn't a magic. It's just a lot of work. You got to make phone call after phone call, meeting after meeting, email after email. Keep on following up.
Get the inventory, hold the inventory.
Yeah, of course, there's all that too.
You dealt with Amazon, which was you were trying to...
Yeah, Amazon was the fulfillment mode until we got distribution through commercial distributors and retail distributors.
So you took it from, you went from the start to finish and tried to get it going. What was after that, when you got into Reliant and you took everything you learned there, now you're applying it to Reliant. What was, let's say, what is the one thing now with Reliant that you take from that? Are you just on the phone calls every day, or is it more find a way to create the residual revenue?
Yeah.
In contrast with the one and done that we talked about in the kind of when we were warming up before.
I'm not going to say that those lessons were learned through Phantom, because I mean I still am. So here I talk about focus and 100%. I still am involved in both, but with Reliant, I'm going to say it's actually more. I knew going into Reliant that I would have to do the kinds of things that we did as a company in manufacturing X number of years ago. Close to 20. And really it's building a strong foundation. And if you've got the intention of building a business beyond just sort of status quo or some small level above where it's at, you really do need to work on that foundation. And we had done that previously, and I was fortunate to be in a position where other people in the company looked after their particular areas, and I was able to work on some of those things. And I knew that, so there's a time when you're beginning a business that it really is survival. You're in survival mode. You're just doing absolutely everything, and entrepreneurship is so
There's
easy.
nothing.
It is so easy, right? Because you have nothing but holidays and free time. But the reality
it's the opposite of that.
You're up at 6 and you're working till 12 or 1, and it takes that much time just to do those things, just to keep.
And your list still keeps getting bigger.
Yes. Yeah.
Right. You never catch up.
So you just have to keep on doing that until such time as you get a couple more things in place, and you've been working on digging that foundation and building it, and then pouring little,
It's one of the things that I realized early on. I always thought I could, with entrepreneurship, I always thought I could get my list finished. Mm-hmm. But there was always more things coming on the list than I was able to finish. So it's a never-ending cycle of tasks that keep coming up that you have to...
You don't want to finish either. I mean, because
you don't.
The pipeline's empty, right?
Yeah, but it's one of those things where you feel... I think there's a lot of people that fall into the trap of the never-ending circle, and they feel like they can never catch up. You have to learn very quickly that you're not going to catch up.
Right.
The light at the end of the tunnel always stays the same size. And it's important to understand that. It took me a while to realize that, and once I did, then I started to be able to kind of take myself down a level and calm down and be able to get things done more strategically, focus on one task at a time rather than always panicking and rushing to get things done. So it was a process, and it's something I think that every entrepreneur goes through. It's a double-sided coin, though, right? You want to get it all done. You want to work hard, and at the same,
you want to tick things off. You want to get things done for sure, but you know that they're never going to be completely done. And like I say, it wouldn't be a good thing if they all were, because then you'd be going around, looking around, thinking, well,
and wondering what to do.
Yeah, what next?
That's when you get your holidays. You never want the pipeline to run out. You got to keep busy and keep that getting filled.
Yeah.
One of the reoccurring parts of the show. And Q, what do we got for time? We okay?
Yep, we're good.
We have we always talk, we got this wall of inspiration here. We always talk about quotes with each guest that's here. So what is, Tony, and we're throwing you on the spot because there was no pre-planning. You were here for a meeting, and we said, you want to talk on #TalktoJV, and Omid set up a camera, and we've got this thing rolling. Is there a quote that comes to mind that's a favorite that you fall back on?
Yeah, yes.
Take me through it.
Whether you think you can or you can't, you're right.
As simple as that.
Yeah.
And I don't think that one's attributed to anybody. I think that's a general one.
It's one, actually, you know what, that's been top of mind since I was 14 years old, 13. Played on a rep hockey team. And, our chant at the beginning of every game was a series of statements, and that was one of them. And that's
It's stuck with you ever
oh,
since.
And it's so true. You see it in everybody. If somebody believes, I don't think I can do this, well, you're right. You can't.
We had another one. It was up there, and it's a summary, but the mountains we climb are the mountains of the mind. And it kind of is the same thing, because it's a mental aspect where if you think you can't, it's just not going to get done.
Yeah.
And if you think you can, then at least...
A little engine that could, right?
Yeah.
I think I can, I think I can, I think I can.
I like that.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
I think that's one we're going to have to get on the wall. I think I can. Because it's... If you do that, then you are going to be able to succeed. You put yourself in the right frame of mind to succeed.
You have to, it's not just a matter of saying it, looking in the mirror and saying it again. You have to absolutely believe it. And I just believe it. I mean, I know what I'm capable of. I know the varied experiences that I've had and how I've got a really big comfort zone, like a really, really big. People talk about getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah.
It was only actually very recently that I actually got out of my comfort zone. I've done a lot of different things, and I did get out of my comfort zone, and it's kind of terrifying.
Yeah.
Because it's a pretty big comfort zone, so to get out on the ledge beyond it was a little bit challenging, but yeah, it worked out okay.
Nice.
Yeah.
One last thing we'll touch on. You've done a little bit of traveling, and you've been a couple places. I like to talk about it now because travel is such a big part of society now, and I think borders are going to become less of borders, and people are going to keep doing business across borders more and more as time goes on. So for the people out there that are trying to travel for business and do some traveling, give a couple tidbits of information that you think they'll find valuable.
Okay. That one is really cool. I spent a big part of my career in international business and loved virtually every minute of it, except for the fact that I had to spend a lot of time away from the family. I stood on so many bridges and looked at so many buildings and wished that I had my family there with me, doing that. But
which is one of the things about traveling for business that sometimes there's a sacrifice on.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's
a number of things that come to mind with that. I emailed my wife one day. I was in a nice hotel overlooking this beautiful beach in Brazil, and I said, even though I'm in this nice hotel overlooking the beautiful beach in Brazil, I'd rather be home with you and the kids.
Yeah.
Her response was classic. She said, even though I'm at home with the kids, I'd rather be in a beautiful hotel in Brazil.
Yeah. Yeah.
So anyhow,
yeah.
So the advice is, do it. Take a look at the reasons that you're doing it. Again, if you're doing it to gain incremental, revenue points and incremental margin, whatever it happens to be, that's not good enough. You have to take a look at the effect you're having in that new market, in that society. And if you're adding value in some means to that society, and you're not just a me too, and your company wants to do things within that society, then you're looking at it for the right reasons. Then be prepared to spend a long time and a lot of money. It's going to take it's going to take more time, and it's going to take more money than you expect to develop that international market, but it's going to be really gratifying when you do.
It's interesting because I have heard that one before.
Mm-hmm.
The expression I've heard is it always takes double the amount of time and double the amount of money as you think to go into another country.
It depends on what your initial vision is, but it's going to take a long time, and it's going to take a lot of money. And preface your business fortunes on that international market or markets. That's the other thing too, again, similarly to where we were before. You can't pour that bucket of water into 6 or 7 different markets at a time. Pick a manageable amount, because you're going to need to spend a lot of time there and really get to know and gain trust in those markets.
Based on the resources that you have. Based on the resources that you have, go all in on the markets that you feel most confident about.
Yeah.
Don't try to spread yourself too thin, otherwise you'll do all of them mediocre and none of them will make it. I love it, Tony.
Yeah.
Tony,
awesome.
Thank you for coming out.
All right, thank you.
Thank you, sir.